Watching out for our citizens is the only reason we have a government in the first place. If people in other countries enjoy
I don't think anyone ever says, you know, act more white or sound, you know, more white, but it's like an unspoken, you know, it's an unspoken thing. It honestly wasn't until I think I became like a teenage black male that I, for the first time ever, experienced what I would consider like white society seeing me as a threat. One evening at like dusk, I was like walking down the street, and I just remember this sense of like these white people on the street like somehow feeling unsafe by my presence. Yeah. And it was, you know, it was kind of like like, you know, you're not like the little black kid, now you're becoming this like black man. And it's a really weird, subtle thing. My sweatpants, they gosha, la costura nostra, ziplocks and potions, I love my lip gloss and lotion. A lot of people, and especially a lot of white people, when you bring up race or racial issues, would like to say, you know, let's just be one race. Let's be the human race. I think the biggest reaction to what the Black Lives Matter movement was, you know, all lives matter. But you didn't say all lives mattered until we said Black Lives Mattered. And we said Black Lives Mattered because black people were getting killed, are getting killed, and there was no justice. White people have to admit that white supremacy exists and that it's real. And they really have to actually believe it, and they really have to understand that like it's so institutional and it's so intersectional. You know, I would say this. Why would an African-American fella reach in his pocket when an officer has told him to freeze? That's malintent. If that gentleman were not a threat, why did it take for officers to Can we talk about the parenting?
There's always this fear of a black planet, the fear of black people taking over, the fear of them taking what we have, this fear of just not knowing what's going on.
White privilege is that you have the luxury of not having to be aware of this power structure there is in the world.
I do mean people of color. Okay, you want to? Oh, hey, I said
You're just living your life.
You throw around all of these terms.
You're getting places not based on your own merit, but you are not aware of it.
Society you have always lived in. So what exactly is wrong now? I mean, I think it's really awkward to like ask me about like race stuff. I think it's hard for a lot of white people to even imagine themselves as privileged because they equate privilege with class.
Yeah.
Or they equate privilege, you know,
with money.
With money. Like I know plenty of white people who didn't grow up with money. And it's so much more than just this like capitalist construct. I'm not a racist. But the idea that like because I'm white, like I've like had better treatment.
In a way, it is very understandable, right? That you don't get it from the top where you are. It's really difficult to see the rows behind you.
It was almost as if like shit actually was better when we weren't talking about this shit.
It's something that they're unaware of, and yet it is an excuse for them to then also dismiss everything else because they are the norm. They are the foundation of the racial system.
And it's interesting because in a lot of ways, white privilege is this safety net of oblivion.
Exactly. When they brought up race, I didn't even know what to say. Feminism is feminism. I've never heard of white feminism or black feminism. We're all women. Hello, I dated Malcolm in college. He was black. I think he was actually Blasian. When have I ever seen anyone's race?
For me, literally, it's the day-to-day. It's like how it goes in school, the way your teacher treats you, the way it seems like white people have an understanding together in which they've like all together decided we're going to treat you differently because you are different.
I'm throwing this brunch. Do you think that you could bring some people of color? A black girl, if we had an Asian girl, it would be better optics.
Okay. It really is because a lot of people are just really not aware of the fact that it exists. They just kind of blindly choose to accept the fact that they're all right because they're white and the rest just has it harder.
Hi, yeah, my name is Meredith. I'm calling from Crinway Apartments. I'm a bit troubled because there's a family in the park outside.
I think the scariest thing for me is I always wonder, were people of color having this conversation?
I'm a bit uncomfortable by the fact that they're not doing anything. He is a brown-skinned guy.
But are white people having this conversation?
Usually people have to have a permit to be in the park. Okay, I knew I wasn't crazy.
And are white people having this conversation, not with us, but amongst themselves?
Exactly.
That's kind of like, I think, going to be the key game changer that we've yet to actually see wholly transpire in our society. Are there white people having these conversations? Yes. But at the level that it needs to be to actually affect institutional change, hell no.